another fun episode with your favorite mouse moms. Jennifer, that's me. Lori,
hi.
That's you. And Juliana.
That is me. Hello.
That is you. Lori and I are back from our whirlwind adventure over in the Walt Disney World Resort and, to be specific, Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. We've been talking a lot about it. Many of you may know that on this trip, our fancy mouse moms decided to upgrade ourselves to the Polynesian for our last night in Disney. And so we were there for the opening of Trader Sam's. We stayed in one of the newly rethemed Moana rooms, all for you. But before we get to all things Polynesian on this episode, of course, we need to start with our Mouska cocktail. So, Juliana.
Yeah, so this is like a Mouska cocktail and a Mouska tip rolled into one because, as we mentioned, Trader Sam's Grog Grotto, which you all know is one of our favorites, reopened last week to much fanfare, and our girls were there. But you guys did miss out because there was something you did not know until today.
We'll just have to go back.
I guess.
You have to go back. There is a secret drink menu at Trader Sam's Grog Grotto in the Polynesian.
This does not at all surprise me.
No.
If anything was conducive to a secret menu, it would be this place.
It's very Trader Sam's, and we'll talk all about Trader Sam's because it is my favorite bar on property. I have to say. But anyway, so there are 3 drinks you can get on the menu. One is called the Heart of Polynesia, which is Karuba, Bacardi, blue curacao, cream of banana, orange, and pineapple. And it's like a greenish blue. It looks like the heart of Tafiti. It's that color. So that sounds good. I'm gonna before I editorialize, let me give you the other choices. So there's a Shipwrecked on D Rock that has Maker's Mark, lemon juice, mint, and agave.
That sounds good.
This sounds like almost like a mint julep, maybe.
I would say this sounds really good. That I could drink.
I could do this, and then, all right, I am going to editorialize. I put them in like my favoring order, and then number 1 for me is the Grunt's Grog, which is gin, lemon juice, bitters, and orgeat syrup. I don't know if I'm saying that right, which I think is like an almond flavor.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that doesn't sound good. I don't want almonds in my drink.
We had this at the Edison in something.
Did we?
I don't think it was paired with lemon juice, though. That's where it gets me, like almond and lemon.
Oh, like a lemon almond cake?
Ew.
Oh.
There's such a thing?
Well, when you say it that way, it sounds good.
I'm Italian. We do lemon and almond on everything.
No.
And I love gin. That first one, the Heart of Polynesia, I feel like I would take one sip and be like, sweet.
Well, you guys know how I feel about both rum and pineapple in my drinks.
Sweet.
And sweet.
Yeah.
And banana and orange.
Yeah.
This one might be too much for me, even me.
This one sounds like a good one in like a frozen cocktail by the pool with an umbrella.
Well, funny you say that because you can get these, I think, outside. I can't remember what it's called, the bar, the outdoor part of Trader Sam's.
Which is much easier to get into than actually going into Trader Sam's.
Right.
So that's a good tip in one. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Shipwrecked. I feel like that
I could do Shipwrecked. Lemon. Lemon agave. I could do that.
That sounds great to me, actually. It sounds perfect for Trader Sam's too, because it's really dark in there, and I don't like rum. So
I say this warrants another trip with Juliana this time.
Oh, there's never a good reason to not go to Trader Sam's.
True.
Well, I mean, if we're around Magic Kingdom on the Sunday night when I'm with you, nothing says we can't scoot over to Trader Sam's again.
And Enchanted Rose.
And Enchanted Rose.
And Citricos.
And Citrusco. I like this.
I mean, so anyway, let's stick with Polynesian. Let's stay at Trader Sam's, but we'll talk about Trader Sam's in a little bit. But let's move on to the daily roundup. I want to hear all about your impressions and all the changes at Polynesian.
Yeah, so this was actually a very good strategic move for us to switch our reservation over to the Polynesian because it did open up on Monday. It's brand new. There was a lot to check out, and yeah. So let's get into it. So we just mentioned that Trader Sam's is now open.
Yeah.
Other things that are now reopened in the Polynesian, Ohana, which was very exciting. That announcement was made like a month ago. Ohana is now open for dinner and breakfast. And the rooms are now open. So previously, post-COVID, you could only stay at the Polynesian resorts if you stayed in the villas. So it was open, the DVC area of that resort was open, but not the rest. So now the entire resort is open. So what should we talk about first? Like the public spaces?
Yeah, let's talk about the public spaces.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, I think we should start by first. The Polynesian was open in regards to the Disney Vacation Club. So DVC was there. So I was in the Polynesian like January, February, March. It was like half open. It was a weird feeling there. So like Ohana was closed. Kona was open. The front desk wasn't there. It was located over on the DVC side. And it's a weird feeling there. Like it just didn't feel like the normal Polynesian resort just because it was like, probably a fourth open. So this was really...
My family went over there too in April. We ate dinner at Kona. And then our first night there, we walked over from the Grand to get a Dole Whip and the Captain Cook's
nachos.
Pork nachos. Yeah. But it was very empty. So it was very sad.
So now the lobby feels...
Everything is open now. Yeah. Nothing has changed in the lobby. They did not redo it at all. Everything is exactly as you remember it, with very dark Polynesian tiki feel. But the reason it was closed is because, and it continues to be, that front main entrance by the porte cochere is closed still.
Porticoker, I think they say.
Whatever.
That's how they say it in English.
It's still closed. So they are still doing work on that area, and also that, like the second story, same area is where you would get on the monorail. Right. That is not open yet either.
So I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, can you catch glimpses during the construction of what the new porticoker is going to look like? Like, really. I know that we've all seen the drawings, but
it's totally covered still. You can see, I mean, that's where the Magical Express picks you up and drops you off still.
I was going to say the outside part's done, like the overhead where you pull the cars in, the buses in, that's done. So you can kind of, we could see what it looked like then. It kind of looked the same. It was a little bit brighter color wise. But it was a little bit the same. I think the monorail platform is going to be the monorail platform. I don't think
it's going to be much difference.
About getting to the parks, right? So there's not been a monorail from Polynesian for a while now.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what that means for getting to the parks and going through security. Because one of the perks not only was the transportation on the monorail to Magic Kingdom right there, but also that before you got on the monorail, you went through security, so you didn't have to do it again.
Right. Yeah. So we took the boat, the little ferry, to and from the Magic Kingdom. That's the quickest way to do it. Otherwise, even in normal times, if you took the monorail, you'd have to go all the way around the whole loop before you got to your last stop.
I love the ferry.
It's really nice. It's super nice at night too.
I was going to say, I think it's nice. I think the problem you're going to have, we didn't really go during peak times.
No.
So the ferry is with the ferry. I mean, there's only a certain amount of people that can fit on that little boat.
They're small.
So I think when it opens up, I think it's an issue. One of the big perks of the Polynesian is you're able to walk to the Ticket and Transportation Center. And that's where I think at peak morning without that monorail, I'd almost walk over there. Just because that ferry in the morning's got to back up. And when we tried going on at 5:00 and we had to wait 2 ferries worth.
Yeah. So spell it out for me though.
So
when you take the ferry
about the security.
Yes.
Yes. So even in normal times, the way the ferry works is you take the ferry over to the Magic Kingdom, and at the stop at the Magic Kingdom, you go through security.
So as you're getting off,
So
but not in the main Magic Kingdom.
But not, not with this. So it's still a perk.
Yeah.
If you are athletic and ready to go, there's always the option to walk, because now that they opened up that walkway from the Grand, it's a really short walk from the Polynesian to the Grand, and then you could walk from the Grand to the Magic Kingdom, and that all merges into a very similar security area before the main gates. So it's all private.
Yeah, so not that walk is solid.
It's not. It's not a short walk.
No,
but
private, but not like the contemporary where it's like right on the path.
It is pretty much right on the path.
Oh yeah,
it's right.
Okay.
So it's right when you get off the ferry. You're gonna walk and you hit security right there. So the only people you're competing with in that line are the people that were on the ferry boat with you.
Right.
Which is
so that's
20
nice.
people. Yeah. So it was a
That's
good
a nice
perk.
perk that you don't really think about. You think about transportation, but you really don't think about the perk of having private security, which I think is huge.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you walk over to the Ticket and Transportation Center, again, you go, but you do go through security before you get on the monorail.
Yes. You have your
Competing
own
with everybody who's taken the monorail to the Ticket and Transportation Center.
Right. And we did that to go to Epcot. We should have been able to take the Epcot monorail over to Epcot, because that did reopen on the Sunday before we went, but it was closed again when we were there. So we did not get to experience.
But it's reopened since, right? Do we know?
We never confirmed that before we left. I'm not 100% sure.
We'll have to check. It hasn't been all over the news, so I'm assuming it reopened.
I'm pretty sure it reopened. I think people got used to it being closed too.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But there's also the buses that you could take to the theme parks, and that is over by where the villas are. But that you would have to, they just drop you off with everybody
Park
else
security.
And go through security with everyone else. So
with all the bus takers.
Yeah, it is a good perk though. Still, even with the monorail station closed, it was nice for Magic Kingdom to be able to kind of bypass that first mess of people trying to get in through security.
Yeah, it is huge. Look, anything that gets me away from crowds for even a minute is nice. And who doesn't want to feel like a VIP? You totally feel like a VIP when you stay at Polynesian. No question. I was going to say.
And like Jen said, at night, so I guess this is a tip inside of a tip. The fireworks are at 9:15. The park doesn't close till 10 o'clock. Do not go to transportation after the fireworks. I don't care if you're tired. Just continue to sit there. Just don't do it.
It's nicer to just sit and wait in the park than to
deal with all the people. With the massive crowds trying to leave.
So
we got really cool pictures.
Yeah.
We stuck around. We went over to Fantasyland to the back of the castle, and we got gorgeous empty park pictures.
And the rides are still open until 10 o'clock. So at exactly 10 o'clock, you got to be inside that queue, because I ran and I made it. He was counting down on me at 7, 6, 5, and I got in at 4.
Oh, that's hilarious. What ride?
I tried to go on Splash. Splash still had a 90-minute wait. So I jumped over
the two of us went on Jungle Cruise first together. Because we wanted to see what changed, because
after the fireworks.
Yeah. Right after the fireworks, we were kind of perched in the hub over by Adventureland. So we decided that's where we were headed. We gathered as soon as the fireworks ended, and I dried my tears. We walked over to Adventureland, and there was no wait. We walked right on to Jungle Cruise. And then as we're passing Pirates, and I'm going on Pirates, she said, well, I'm going on Splash. And we kind of split up.
We separated.
And I went on Pirates, and she tried to go on Splash, but did not.
So did you go on anything?
I got on Big Thunder. So right at Splash, I looked at her and I said, sorry, I'm waving kids all over the place. And I said, is it really 90 minutes? Because it was posted at 90. Because a lot of these rides were showing 30, but there was nobody in line. And she goes, no, this one's legit 90. And I looked in, and you could see the queue all inside Splash. So
how
I
long
left.
Was Big Thunder?
So I went, she's like, run, sprint to Big Thunder. You literally have 20 seconds. So I sprinted, and I heard the guy was literally counting down as people were running in the queue.
Were you the only one running?
No, I was not. That's There was 4 other people behind me sprinting.
That's hilarious.
And they made it in at 1, and then they shut it down right behind us. But it said 35 minutes, but I walked right on.
Yeah.
So, and
we were done at around the same time.
We were around the same time, yeah. And it was the second to last Big Thunder train. We had one more behind us, but
How
yeah,
fun!
It was. But then
we
were
got
able
to walk around. We didn't have to fight with crowds.
They don't kick you. They don't kick you out of the park.
No.
They push you towards the front. They do eventually say, "Get your butt towards the front."
Yeah.
Because they're starting to shut things down.
We walked around where Adventureland was a little bit. We took our time. We kind of moseyed over to Fantasyland. We looked at, we walked through Liberty Square, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we walked a lot, and we just enjoyed. We're all usually there with our kids at night. So
I struggle there with my kids at night. I'm not going to lie. When it's crowded, because it's dark and it's crowded. Now that they're bigger, it's not as big a deal, but I can remember just constantly feeling a little bit.
This was a really nice way to end our night because again, like it had cooled down a little, first of all. And we,
no, it didn't. You were sitting on the bench and you were like, I'm still sweating.
That's true. It did not cool down a little bit, but it emptied out a lot. So at least we weren't sweaty next to strangers, and it was beautiful. They leave all the lights on, so we got really pretty pictures of the carousel. We got really pretty pictures, but we're not at all talking about the Polynesian right now.
I was going to say. The way back to the conversation where I was at was because we stayed around and we didn't exit the park, I think till 11 and technically it closed at 10, is when we got to the ferry boats, there was no line.
No, we walked on, got a seat.
We walked on, got a seat, and we were off, and it was a beautiful ride back.
And I actually think, getting back to what you were just saying, though, now that my kids are older and can hang, I think they would really love to do that.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It's a really, really cool thing. We were trying to, so if you've seen pictures, there's people that literally are the last ones out and they take these pictures on the main street looking at the castle. So they're the only ones in the picture. That was the goal. No one would leave.
No one would leave.
No one would leave. It was like 11:20, and I'm like, leave. And I couldn't do it. I wanted the picture.
We wanted the Main Street picture. We got beautiful empty pictures from behind the castle. We wanted the Main Street, looking up Main Street of the castle with nobody in it, and people just really.
And you were able to stay and wait because you were staying at the Polynesian and it was so easy to get back to.
Yes, we didn't have a half-hour ride to get back to our resort.
Let's talk about the room that you went back to. They're rethemed. Lots of controversy about this before they were actually opened, right? There was people having real problems with the characterization, so to speak, of the deluxe level resort rooms.
Yeah.
What do you think? What'd you think?
It was gorgeous. And the way they brought characters into the deluxe resorts, which could be controversial, but the way they did it, it was so subtle, not at all kitschy or cheesy. You really had to look for some of the things. I think the boldest thing they had was they had a painting of Hey Hey, the chicken.
I'd say Hey Hey was probably the most bold one.
But it was right where the coffee station was. So we didn't even notice it at first. And then I'm like, oh, Hey Hey.
Hey Hey's peeking over the coffee maker looking at you.
I moved to the coffee maker to get a good picture. It was really cute.
The colors are brighter.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah. If you remember from the first time we went there, I hadn't been since the 1970s.
And it felt exactly the same.
And it felt like nothing had changed. And so I was really disappointed because that had been on my bucket list. I was so excited to get back. And then I was like, wah, wah. The hallways that were dark.
I think their most recent update went from orange and brown to brown and blue. They threw a little more blue in there, but it was still...
And yes, but this time they threw in a lot of white.
Yeah.
And it made even walking down, and we posted pictures on our Mouse Mom site. even walking down the hallway and seeing like the white, pretty, it was just bright. It wasn't like I was in the 1970s Brady Bunch Goes to Hawaii.
I was going to say, it was all very, they made it very Hawaii oceany. So it's very, you know, the blues, the whites, the sand colors. So it's very, you know, it's got beige, breezy. You know, one of my favorite things, the floors. So the wood, they're not really wood floors, but the fake kind of wood floors were beautiful in the main room. I want them in my house.
Yes.
And then somebody actually pointed out to me in the bathroom, if you go to look at the tiles actually look like sand. So it looks like the movement of sand in the tile. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
And it's
really
beautiful
pretty
tile. It's just, you have to look at it for a little bit and be like, oh my God, yes, it's supposed to be sand. It's supposed to be the rifts in the sand if you were looking down at sand. But the characters.
So while you're having your tinkle, you can look at the sand.
Yes. Yeah. I have to say, one of the biggest criticisms that we had when we stayed there the first time is that you're paying all this money for a deluxe resort and it's not really a split bath. And they did not resolve that issue, really.
No.
So when you're with your family, I guess it's not such a big issue. But if you're with a bunch of girlfriends, I mean, I guess it depends how close you are. But like, I could be making my tinkle while Lori was brushing her teeth and it would be fine. But if I was in the shower and she had to go to the bathroom or brush her teeth, like I'm right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small thing. Because when you compare it to what it would have cost them to remedy.
Oh, for sure.
And the fact that they sell these rooms regardless.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and they have that option. They have the Deluxe Studio. So in the DVC side of Poly, the Deluxe Studio is a split bath. So you do have that option at the resort. But right now, the DVC rooms are not renovated to Moana themed, if you want to call it.
And if that doesn't matter to you, you also give up a bed, right? When in a studio, you're in a queen and a couch.
A pull-out couch.
A pull-out. And then you have
kids,
the Juliana bed. And then the fold-down Juliana bed.
So it still sleeps the same number of guests, just in a different way.
Different way, yeah. The
room that we were in had, like at the Contemporary when we stayed in October, it had the 2 queen beds and then the fold-out bed. So that's a much more comfortable option than the pull-out sofa. So
to me it is, but some people, actually will fold up that couch every day and have the seating space in their room. I'm not some people, but
I would say it just depends. Like if you have a group that you're like, I need that split bathroom, that's a make or break, then you do Deluxe Studio. But if you're like, hey, we're perfectly fine, it's a family, we can, I got 3 boys, whatever. I don't need the split bathroom. They're not going to be in there a long time. So I would stay in the new renovated rooms. They're absolutely really gorgeous. I think for adults, they're pretty. For the kids, my kids could probably spend 20 minutes running around finding all the characters. They kind of reminded me of that magazine. My kids still get it. The
highlights.
You get the highlights where you see the hidden characters. Like if you're looking at it, you're like, there it is. That's what like the lampshades were. Like all of a sudden in the shower, you could see in the tiles, there was like tattoos of Maui, and like unless you were really looking at it, you couldn't see it. So I think if you were oblivious to the fact that they were Moana themed, I don't know if you'd pick up on everything.
That's cool.
Whereas in Art of Animation the night before, it was blatantly obvious. It was in your face. Like, there was no getting around it. It was very animated.
Did they
sleeping with Flounder?
Did they bring any Moana into the common areas? I don't think they did. And did you see any hidden gems like Easter eggs in the lobby and stuff? Hidden Mickeys?
No, the lobby wasn't touched in regards to new stuff. We did see a hidden Mickey that I never noticed before, but that wasn't new. But in the hallways themselves, the carpet is
new, and the walls are painted lighter, so it's not like you're walking through a dark tunnel anymore. But I'm sure if we spent time really studying, I'm sure there are hidden things in there, but we didn't. So again,
I was going to say the lampshades. The lampshades in the hallways had little characters. I believe now I'm going back to my pictures.
It might be more of like what's his face's tattoo.
Yes. So I have a picture of the lamp. They have the hook. So that the lamp in,
I love those subtle details.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. I mean, it looks like a
you
hook.
Wouldn't notice.
It doesn't. Yeah,
it's not like in your face pop century or art of animation.
Right.
It's very subtle. So I'm like so excited now to see the contemporary and what they're doing with that, because that's going to be the same kind of idea, but just with the Incredibles.
So now can we talk about a place where the theming is not so subtle within the Polynesian?
Yes.
Look at their faces, those of you who are watching us on YouTube. Trader Sam's, right? Okay, so we talked about it a little bit earlier. I think all of us, it's our favorite bar on property.
It really is. It's
just
fun.
Crazy fun. So you've all heard us talk about it before.
It's fun.
It's like a tiki bar meets
Jungle Cruise.
Piano bar. I don't know how to explain it.
It's like the Jungle Cruise with alcohol.
Yeah. So it's all right. So the original one is Trader Sam's Tiki Bar in Disneyland. And I was reading about this because there's like this whole story about Trader Sam's. So he sold shrunken heads, apparently, the legend of Trader Sam. And he founded the Tiki Bar in Anaheim because he learned to develop potions for shrinking heads, and that parlayed into mixology. And then while he was on one of his expeditions in Orlando, he found the perfect spot to open the Grog Grotto. So that's the backstory behind
like a chain.
What's that?
Like a chain.
Yeah.
A franchise.
He
franchised.
He franchised.
One thing I didn't know about Trader Sam's, though, is so it opens up at 4:00. I think the way we talk about it, too, I always look at it as like an adult place. As in a place for like going to get drinks late at night. It's one of the few bars that's open up late. And I didn't realize. So from 4, what do we see? So from like 4 to 7
4 to 8
or 4 to 8, kids can go in there. So all the kids were in there, which I kind of loved because a lot of times I don't have sitters with me. So, this is why my husband's never been in there, is because we never had sitters. So I'm like, this is an awesome option to kind of go in early with the kids. And I think the kids would like it, but I feel like the way we talk about it, it's more of an adult. We get drinks, we have fun, but there is that option. Yes, there is that option.
There's so much to look at in there. Cause it's like, it gives nods to it gives nods to Adventureland as a whole. It gives nods to the Jungle Cruise, the Enchanted Tiki Room, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, even Pirates of the Caribbean. It's got it all. So there's a bunch of Easter eggs and stuff in Trader Sam's that are fun, would be super fun for kids to look at.
I was saying, we talked about like the secret drinks. So I also found, which I was trying to get and I couldn't get it. There's a drink called the White Pearl, and based obviously on Pirates of the Caribbean. Apparently I heard there is a Black Pearl, and it's the same drink, but it comes in a black pearl instead of a white. There's a clamshell, and I forget the clamshell's name. Do you remember? She called it a name. I remember what she called it, but it's in the corner of their bar. And apparently when you order this drink, the clamshell or the pearl comes up, and it's either white or black.
Like the clamshell opens up and
the pearl comes out.
This pearl for the bartender to mix your drink in. Yeah. And then you get to keep the glass, right?
Yes. And then you get to keep it. So I had asked, and I was like, do you think a black one's coming up? And she goes, no, they can't change it. So it's automated. She's like, we can't go in there. I can't do anything.
So someone just says, I want the pearl, and they don't know if they're getting white or black?
They don't know if they're getting white or black.
It's mostly white. Black is very rare, which is why it's like everybody talks about it, apparently.
So fun.
Right?
It is. And like the girl beside me she was like, well, what about the Black Pearl? And she's like, I just had the conversation. And I was like, well, I just want the black one. I don't want the white one. So we were trying to find enough people to order to
them,
get to the black one.
You just have to keep ordering drinks.
This is what makes Trader Sam's so fun. The sense of community.
Yes. We did, though. We were sitting at the bar, and we were meeting the guys on the left of us. We were meeting the girls on the right of us. The bartenders are so much fun.
Do not go to Trader Sam's if you don't want to talk to strangers.
Yeah, no.
Go to Enchanted Rose if you don't want to talk to people.
There you go.
We still met a lot of people, though.
Did. I know.
There's a lot of fun things they do around the drinks here. So you just talked about the pearl drink, but they have a lot of they call them presentations to the gods when they So the big drink, the famous one we talked about, is the Oa. Can you please explain just one more time what you did when you ordered this drink?
So this drink can be ordered. This is a shareable drink.
Yes.
It's big, and you can purchase. I think this is another one where you can purchase the cup.
Yeah.
To take as a souvenir. You could drink this one on your own, but we ordered it to share. And there's a whole presentation involved. So like they dim the lights, the bartender lowers the music, they make this grand thing, they light it on fire. And apparently there are mounds of cinnamon all over the rim of the glass. And apparently when the bartender lights the fire, you're supposed to take pinches of the cinnamon and throw it into the fire, and then it sparks. I couldn't hear a darn thing she was saying. And so she's saying, the cinnamon, put the cinnamon in the fire. So I'm like, okay. So I blew it into the fire, and she's like, this ain't no birthday cake.
I'm sure that's happened before.
No, I don't think it has. Like
so.
The look on the bartender's face. I mean, she said it's not a birthday cake, but it took her a minute to like compose herself and be like, what did you just do?
Get back. You made her break character, Jen.
She broke through the fourth wall or whatever that is.
Oh
but she did, like, the lights go off, it thunders and lightnings, she sprays
and then the
you with a water bottle.
She sprays you with water, and then the god up above actually talks. And so you all turn around really and look at that. It's, it's a really, really cool one. If you're smarter, you throw cinnamon on.
What's funny about this is not the first time that Jen has seen this happen. Like, I ordered this drink when we went last time,
and
she didn't remember that.
That was like the 8th stop on a very long night. Maybe
she didn't remember it. Juliana, the guys next to us told us about it, and she was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen or done this before."
There are always guys next to us at Trader Sam's. I don't know if you noticed.
What?
Yes, that's true. I think we have a picture
of a conversation with the guys next to us.
I think we have a picture of the guys next to us from the last time we went.
Like I said, don't go to Trader Sam's if you don't want to talk to people.
Right.
So you talked about like the god does something when you order that. There's another one like
there are several of those on the menu where it's like a dinner show. It's fantastic. It is definitely reflected in the price. But this also was a drink, like a shareable drink, so I guess you can consider that. But it was fun. I mean, it is fun.
And the bar stools go up and down, like
yes. And
she also didn't remember that.
And the bartenders control it.
Yes. So all of a sudden we look over. So my friend Bridget, hey Bridget, my friend Bridget met us there with her husband, and I'm chatting with Bridget, and all of a sudden I look at her husband, he's like sitting on the floor. Like, what happened to Mark? And the bartender lowered the stools down.
And she did it to the girl beside me, and then the girl was like, well, I can't see anything. So then she started handing out booster seats to people.
It was very cute. It's so much fun. I can't even. But there is a wait list.
Yes. So we didn't talk about that.
The way that they do this is not new to COVID. People were saying that there's no virtual queue. This is the same way that they did it pre-COVID, because as fun as this bar is, it is the smallest space I've ever seen in my life. So
and it's not like there's a lobby or a waiting room. It's like a speakeasy. You have to know it's there. It's just
there's no huge sign. So the way you do it is you go into this little hidden door, and you give them your name and your cell phone number, and then they'll text you if there's a table ready. And that's not different from pre-COVID. That's the way it's
there's
always
nowhere
been.
to wait.
There's nowhere to well, we waited
the Tambu Lounge.
up at the Tambu Lounge and started drinking.
I mean, there's nowhere to wait right outside the door. You go do your thing.
No.
You have to stay on the Polynesian property, which is not a bad thing for them, because you have the Tambu Lounge right upstairs. You have the outside.
Stores are open still.
The stores are open.
Shop. You can go get your pork nachos at Captain Cook's. You can.
But I will say it is usually a 2-hour wait from solid. That's no matter what time you go, it's 2 hours. They do not take any more people after 11:30. It is a solid 2-hour wait.
Yeah, you got to plan
prepared.
Totally worth it.
So we were talking, I said there's like just a ton of nods to things. I just want to highlight like a couple of them. You talked about, there's another one when people order the Nautilus, there's like a squid arm that moves.
Yep.
There's some more subtle stuff. Like there's a picture of Walt Disney holding the giant squid tentacle from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. There's a ship in a bottle that's one of the ships from Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes. So you were saying, or there's even car keys hanging over the counter that say J. Thaddeus Toad in a reference to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So you were talking about how it's open early. Like it would be so fun for your kids to find random different things. Half of them they probably won't recognize as, because these are throwbacks to stuff before their time, but they're still.
But you could give this to them as like a scavenger hunt so that while you're enjoying your they have something to do. And there are non-alcoholic options on the menu. And you can get food items too, I believe. Mm-hmm. I know we could in the past. I didn't notice if you could in COVID times, but
no, I think so.
Yeah.
The menu's on there. So what else can we say about the Polynesian? What other restaurants are open? I know Ohana is now open, and we talked about how if you can't get a reservation, a great tip is to order food at Tambu Lounge. Yes.
Kona is open. I went there in April, so that's been open for a while.
Oh, one thing I do want to mention, which I don't know if this is new or I just didn't pay attention, but there is a little coffee shop to the left of Kona in the lobby. One, it has a stitch cake, which one of our listeners, Kathy, told me to find a picture of. So I got that one, which is adorable. It's a little domed stitch cake. But they had a ton of other things there. So it's a coffee shop that you can get all sorts of coffees at. And then they have the pastries. They have chocolate covered bacon. And not like one chocolate covered bacon. They have like 6 different flavors of chocolate covered bacon.
Like the chocolate covered bacon they sell at Kona?
Do they sell chocolate covered bacon in Kona?
I thought so. For breakfast. I'm going to look at it right now. Keep talking about it.
I know Kona is big for the, oh my God, now I forget the name. The huge French toast, Tonga toast.
Yeah. I don't remember it having,
chocolate bacon.
They had 4 or 5 different flavors of chocolate covered bacon just that you could buy a piece. They had amazing cupcakes in there that you could get down at Captain Cook's, but Captain Cook's didn't have this dome cake. But they had a lot of different things that I hadn't seen on other menus. And I think right now it's being bypassed too, because right there is where you'd get on the monorail. And because that coffee shop used to be packed because people would hit there before getting on the monorail. And I think, so I think they're kind of bypassing this shop right now. But if you're there, stop by there, please.
If we had room in our bellies, we would have gone for the bacon. But I know, dear Lord, we did not.
I know.
I think that was after we did Ohana, right? Not Ohana.
Yeah, it was right after we ate at the Tambu and had our Ohana items.
Which was delicious. We need to do a review of that as well. I don't know if we really have time today. It was good though. I don't know. There have been a lot of negative reviews about the reopening of Ohana. So I tend to do this in general. Like I find the sides way more exciting than the entrees half the time. So I was really excited that that's all you could get at Tambu because that's really all I wanted. So I've heard mixed things about the entrees that have returned to Ohana. But we just had, what do we have? We had the noodles, we had the pot stickers, and we had the wings.
The wings. And they were all delicious. They were. I think the problem Ohana is having right now is everyone loved the skewers. So before COVID, they'd walk around with the skewers and you would get the meats on the skewers and they would bring it around. It was a great atmosphere. I will say from pictures alone of looking at the main entrees, they have like a chicken with the chimichurri something sauce on it, which is weird. And they had something else and a kielbasa on it. Some of it's just weird. It's a weird combo that you would bring that into the pot. Like, it's just weird. I understand it.
Yes.
But
the only thing different with the things that we had, the bread pudding was different, but I loved it. It was delicious. It used to be like a banana bread pudding in pre-COVID times. This one was a pineapple, which made kind of more sense at Ohana, at like a Polynesian venue. And it had this warm caramel sauce. It was delicious. It was really good. And then the other thing that was different, the noodles were the same. They were delicious. We really liked the wings. They tasted the same as they always have. And the pot stickers were different. They did not have a sauce. I guess the new recipe is to kind of build the flavor of the sauce inside the pot sticker. I thought that they were delicious anyway. I think that, you know, if you've never been to Ohana before, you would never know that something was missing, and it was good. So
as I say, it was good. So Polynesian, I think, has some of my favorite food options, but their pool hasn't changed. But again, I think it's worth noting, like, I love their pool. Their pool is awesome.
It hasn't changed, but when we were there a while ago, they were kind of fixing up the splash pad area, but it hasn't changed. I think they just kind of did regular maintenance on it.
They did regular maintenance. The splash pad area is amazing. It is a well-organized pool in terms of being able to sit and watch your children from all angles. It is.
I went on the slide.
It also offers I feel like the prettiest, I mean, except for maybe the Animal Kingdom views, but it offers the prettiest view from the pool. Like, you're right there in the marina water area. Like, even though the yacht club is right on the water, you can't really see it from the pool. The Polynesian pool is just really serene.
We got really great seats too, which is another thing that we've heard a lot of people complaining about with the capacity issues and everything. The capacity issues don't seem to be there anymore. They did not appear to be limiting anything. But like, I got us 2 seats right in front of the pool, in front of the big waterfall area, in the shade. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was, it was hot. It was hot.
Can we go back to bacon for a minute?
Can we go back to bacon? Yes, please.
Always.
No, so I remember, I think when Jen and I were doing Battle of the Breakfast, we might have talked about this, but back in July, I'm seeing a lot of blog posts about this chocolate covered bacon now available at Kona Cafe, that they were famous for their bacon before, and then they added this chocolate covered bacon. So I don't know if they pulled it from the restaurant, because I don't see it on the official menu and are just selling it like in the coffee shop, or if it's something they've adopted for good at Kona Cafe. But they have dark chocolate chili, dark chocolate cinnamon pecan, and seasonal pina colada.
They had a different one in there too. They had I want to say one had a jalapeno on it.
I bet they change them up because there's seasonal too.
Yeah, because I think some of them changed.
I need to get some of this.
Well, we'll get it when we're waiting for our table at Trader Sam's.
So you're saying, there you go. So it's just a grab and go, Jen, like from a
Yes, it's kind of like a Starbucks kiosk. Literally, like there's some little snacky.
And the bacon's just sitting there in little.
The bacon is sitting in the it's like Starbucks. You're like looking at the glass.
A glass refrigerator area.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I mean, honestly, I was looking for the stitch cake, the dome cake, for one of our viewers, and I saw blue out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh, I wonder if it's there. So I walked up, and then I was like, oh my God, there's bacon. So I was pulled away from the stitch cake, as gorgeous as it was, because I was like,
I break for bacon.
There's bacon there.
I mean, it was such a big deal that she came to the bar to get me, to show me the bacon.
and you guys didn't buy any.
You've got to see that.
I was so full.
We had just eaten noodles, pot stickers, wings, and bread pudding.
The bread pudding, we had to put napkins on top.
Like my garbage on it so that I would stop eating it.
I know, I've done that. Salt, ketchup.
Yes, it was delicious. It was really good.
Yes.
I have one last thing to say about Trader Sam's that I forgot. I'm sorry I'm bouncing around, but I watched this earlier today. You know the short Lava, the Disney short with the 2 volcanoes?
Yes. Oh, I love that.
So one of Sam's books on one of the bookshelves is called Lava, Songs of Hawaii.
No. Now I need to go back and look.
I know. There's tons of that stuff. Okay, I'm sorry I went back. So I think we talked about as much Trader Sam's as we can, and then bacon.
Bacon.
And everything else. So like we always say, the drinks are very heavy with rum.
Yes.
Which I'm not a fan of, but these secret drinks that we talked about,
We should try them.
But there is something you have to have with rum when you're at Polynesian.
Yes.
So,
all right. So we're going to, yes, we will go into the mouse get tip. So there is the pineapple Lanai, which is famous. It's right outside the lobby on your left-hand side. It's where you get all sorts of Dole Whips. They can put a rum floater on top. It's where you can get the alcohol version with the Dole Whip. But there is a better option, and it is at the Barefoot Pool. There is. It is at the Barefoot Pool Bar. To be fair, you have to be a guest at the Polynesian to get into the Barefoot Pool Bar, which all the more reason why you should be staying in the new renovated rooms. But they have a Dole Whip called the Frosty Pineapple, and it's actually a Dole Whip smoothie with rum mixed in. It is absolutely amazing. I love Dole Whip, and I prefer this over the regular Dole Whip. It was...
Ew, you are.
It is absolutely, it is my favorite. I drank it in about 5 seconds. I did. And all the rum was at the bottom, but it was, it was delicious. And it's, the other ones are more Dole Whip where, the circle Dole Whip, you have the swirl and everything else. This one was smoothie, guys, 10 times better. Highly recommend getting it. You need to get it.
Is there if you're not doing alcoholic, is there a special Dole Whip at Pineapple and I right now?
Yes, there was the Moana one.
Yes.
They did the Moana one for opening.
I don't remember what was in that one.
I want to say it was raspberry or strawberry.
Yeah. It was red-ish.
Some sort of berry.
Yeah.
They do that a lot, though. They do that really often. They like switch it up. They always
we don't
have,
really pay attention.
Because they always have the regular Dole Whip, so you can always get that there. But they usually have another, like a specialty one.
Yeah, but we're more into the Frosty Pineapple.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. All right.
Alrighty. I think we're done. Yeah.
Oh, am I doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you for spending another fabulous episode with us. For the latest news out of Disney, don't forget to visit our blog at blog.com. Join our Facebook group at Disney Planning and Chat by Mousecamons, and tune into our Mousecamons podcast after the show every Thursday live on our Facebook group at 11 a.m. Eastern. We will see you there. Bye.